Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jaguar, and this is my Playbook trade for January 23rd of 2020. And today I didn't actually have any trades that I thought was worthy of playbooking. I just had two scratches earlier today. It's kind of it wasn't really my ideal type of market earlier today, so I really didn't get that active. Um, and my scratches were not things that really warranted much of an explanation. So I wanted to go back and playbook a trade on Wednesday that I actually was unable to take part in. I couldn't bring myself to execute this trade. And so I want to make this a learning moment for myself where I develop some parameters on how to trade this trade in the future. And so this was a possible open drive play in crude oil. Um, so here is this bar that I'm hovering over right here. It was the open of Wednesday's pit session. Here's the overnight action. So we were in a gap down. This was the close of Tuesday. Okay, so we were gapping down. Um, so that's our first clue in potentially wanting to trade early on in the market. Gapping down was our first clue. Now I'm going to discuss all the details of this trade, and all the clues and the reasons why I should have been in. And really, what you could call this is I was unable to take part in the trade because psychologically I had a lot of fear, but I had fear because I wasn't prepared for this trade to occur. So I wasn't ready to make a real time decision in the midst of things going on in the market because I didn't already have in my head an idea for if this trade could set up or how it was set up. So if you see here this yellow line, it's denoting this low here from actually Tuesday's overnight low session, and this kind of a swing low of this area. So the fact that we were gapping down and on the bar right before the bar that we opened on, we're starting to puncture that level. I should have had in consideration in my mind already an expectation that the market may continue on lower because this was a significant swing low break, or this was a significant swing low, I should say. Also a weak low in terms of there was a pretty significant amount of volume that went in here. So so I should have had that already as an idea in my mind. Now in crude, the difference between crude and the ES in terms of opening up is crude still has a decent amount of volume in its overnight sessions, where the ES might have like 1/6 or 1/7 the amount of volume during the overnight. Crude typically has about half, sometimes more than that, depending on what happens during the overnight session. So the pit open is not always the biggest deal in crude. So I'm a little bit weary about trading the pit open because it's not like there's a giant influx in volume. It's just whereas in the ES at 9:30 the stock market opens. You have all the underlying stocks. There's nothing underlying crude, so it's not it doesn't really matter as much what time the open is. So that has me, more reluctant to trade opening drive trades in crude. But this particular trade had a lot going for it. So if I zoom out a little bit here, not only did we, have the break of 71 that occurred, just minutes before the open, but we also have 57.60 here as a key low, and we have 57.37. And you can see in the first 30 minutes of the market, we broke all of those levels. So based on the way that I trade, I should have been looking at this 60 and considering getting in there. If we're, gapping lower and we just have broken, this swing low at 71, then my consideration should have been if we break 60, I probably would like to get in there. So I should have been looking at that. So let's look at here at the footprint. Now you could see, we're looking at 10,000 volume bars here. So if you've seen my video, I just put out a video recently discussing the open drive trade in the ES, and I'm looking at 25,000 volume bars there. And my entry criteria for the actual execution is when there's 10% offsides to one side or the other in delta. So in the case of the ES, when I'm looking at 25,000 volume bars, I'm looking at plus or minus 2,500 delta. But here in Crude, I'm looking at 10,000 volume bars, and I would only need 1,000 plus or minus delta. Now, I don't actually have that flushed out that well in Crude yet, because again, like I mentioned, the open is actually not as a significant deal in Crude as it is in the ES. So the 10% rule, I'm not fully convicted in. Now, 15%, like we were offered here, actually is pretty significant. And so you could see, if you look at my crosshair here, this was 60. So you see on this first 10,000 contracts, we punctured 60, and then we also pulled back into 60. So just from the standard, breakout criteria, this would have been an excellent trade to take part in, where I could have either entered as it retested 60. I could have tried to get filled at 58 or 59 here, especially in seeing that this was the VPOC of that bar. I could have attempted to get filled at the VPOC. I would have had to been very quick there. But I also could have traded the as we broke the low of the first bar. I could have entered here on the second bar as we broke that low, which was the VPOC of this bar. You can see in the yellow here. So either one of those would have been good entries for this open drive / breakout type of play. So you can see the factors that's going for this trade is that we were in a gap down, so it contextually makes sense. We also had enough, one-sided delta that, the other end of my context in this trade, what I need to execute, also made sense. We broke out from a level at 60, which I showed you guys here on the 30-minute chart. We had this level here at 60. So that was a swing low that we broke down from. And then, finally, we pulled back into the 60 area and, kind of confirmed the breakout as we continued down lower. So really, I should have been able to get involved in this trade, but because I wasn't prepared that morning, and because I didn't have, a plan for how to take an open drive trade in Crude for that particular day, and not being aware of all the context, what swing lows I was looking for, I wasn't able to get in. Now, I was actually watching this bar in real time, and I wanted to execute, and I couldn't bring myself to. Now, if I was more prepared, I wouldn't have, it felt like I wanted to get in with a lack of discipline. But if I was more prepared, I would have understood that this was actually a great moment to get in, and the reason why my intuition was screaming to me, get involved, is because there was a lot of validity in getting involved. So I just want to run through that with you guys and discuss where, I could have did a better job of preparation there. And, hopefully in discussing this with you guys, in the future, now I'm more readily able to trade these type of trades. So this was what I would call an open drive move, but it also was mixed with a breakout. So this really was a fantastic trade for the style in which that I trade. So it's unfortunate I wasn't able to capitalize and take part, but I will be doing a lot better job in the future of preparing for this type of setup. So just wanted to discuss that with you guys, and hope you learned something. Hope you guys have learned something every day, because I definitely am. So I'll talk to you guys soon.